All right, now down below we got Marty Snyder. He says that Disneyland forward proposal to the city also has Garden Walk zoned for theme park, even though Disney doesn't own it yet. That's interesting. Dre, do you have that graphic? Did it show the various zoning on the graphic you had, or no?
Well, this is just the zoning as far as the proposal for Disneyland Forward and what they own right now. I have to look at the Garden Walk zoning.
That's interesting. I did not know that, Marty. That's pretty significant if that's the case.
I would have to look into that a little bit because I did not hear that it was earmarked for theme park development use. From what I understand, it was only zoned for retail and dining. I'd have to actually take a look at that. That's a very interesting kind of thing there. We've seen Garden Walk come up for sale a couple times, and even Disney themselves pass over on it, which is that's really interesting because it would so nicely connect their land that they own to the north of the property in the form of the proposed parking structure, and to the south of the property for a proposed theme park. It's like, why can't we close the gap here? Why, it's open. Why not take that on? I'm really not too sure, but if it is actually zoned for theme park use already, well, that even creates even more questions now, doesn't it, as to why Disney doesn't own it just yet.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting, Marty. We'll look into that. We might do a future video on that because that's fascinating. Ryan Turner here says, I don't think Disney can do much with Toy Story until they figure out more parking. Is that a parking structure there as part of the third gate?
Looks like it is. Oh, sorry. I was saying, I'm looking at the zoning. It looks like it's part of the same zoning as Disneyland here.
Oh, can you share your screen, Ethan? We'll go ahead and
go ahead and share the screen, Ethan, because that's kind of hard to find there on short notice.
Let's see. I think, let's say, so I'm looking here. Here's the zoning map. Disneyland's here in green. Is this the Garden Walk? If so, it's
the Garden Walk is to the north of that property. That's correct.
So yeah, it's the same zoning as Disney's stuff. Because here's Toys. I think I don't know, but
that's Toy Story a lot down below. Where your cursor is right now. Then where your cursor is right now is where Garden Walk is currently.
Yeah, so same zoning. So it is zoned for theme park.
What? That's interesting, but
that's a bizarre type of shaped area to actually be zoned for theme park. That's interesting.
That isn't. Yeah, that's very weird.
Is it theme park specifically, or is it mixed use?
Let's see. Let's see.
Let's go to the key here.
The green color. So I sent you guys a link. Let's look. Remember that green color? Hold on. Whoop.
Oh yeah. It says open space.
Open space.
Yeah.
Well, no. There's multiple.
Oh, there's more.
It's over here to the side. It's this one. Specific plan.
Just
it's
a
this
over.
one. It's zoned as the Disneyland Resort. This guy.
What?
The Disneyland Resort. SP92-1.
And the red, the one below it,
is the Anaheim Resort.
Okay. So
this is this green right here.
And that's a distinct difference there because Anaheim Resort is not necessarily Disney. That's
correct.
like the bus stops around the area and the gas station.
I mean, if you look at it, like the Disneyland Hotel and that property and so forth, that's also
green.
Zoned as Disneyland Resort.
Except right here, this is Pixar Pier right here. This little blob.
I believe so. Yeah.
No, that's the Pixar Hotel. That little red square.
Yeah. The Pixar.
Pixar. Anaheim, and the rest is even Toy Story. But looks like Garden Walk. It's in here. It's in there.
That's zoned as part of the Disneyland Resort already.
That's interesting.
That's weird though.
Why would they own that green spot next to it that runs along Harbor right there? That corner?
Oh, this right here?
No, up next to Garden Walk, like
up
toward
next
the
to
top
Garden
of it.
Walk.
This one?
Yeah. What's all that?
What would that be?
Isn't that?
That's like a couple of hotels. That's like the Anaheim Hotel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you zoom that in?
Yeah, someone popped Some pop in the Google map next to this.
Yeah, the corner of Disney Way and Harbor, I believe that's the Anaheim Hotel right there.
Give me a second. I'm going.
This is fascinating. We're doing some detective work
We're
right
doing
now.
detective work here.
Riveting content.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
So it's just below Disney Way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
That's the, I guess, yeah, it's the Pizza Press, the Anaheim Hotel,
oh yeah, over here.
Harbor
Yeah.
Marketplace.
Yeah.
That's what that is right now. That is as it exists today.
That's
But
interesting.
yeah, then the Garden Walk is all in that.
Yeah, right there.
No, Marty says he follows up.
Oh, go ahead.
Marty's saying maybe it was an attempt to see if they could move forward with buying it. So
The Suncoast.
That's what I'm confused at. If they don't already own it, but yet it's zoned as for Disney, unless this is reading as like a hypothetical. If Disney were to buy it, it is zoned for theme parks.
So the distinction between the Disneyland Resort and the Anaheim Resort in this specific map doesn't necessarily deal with ownership or for its usage. It's the level and quality at which you have to maintain these properties. So Disneyland Resort is a higher standard than the Anaheim Resort. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay,
That explains the Pixar Pier Hotel.
Correct. That's funny, Casual. That is funny.
Yeah, that is.
Other parts of the Disneyland Resort, as this map implies, is the Manchester parking area and the Suncoast Park Hotel Anaheim and the Element Anaheim Resort Convention Center. So those are included as well. And then looks like the entrance portal to the Toy Story lot. So as far as that map details, that's the level of quality at which they have to be maintained.
That's fascinating. Well, and it's weird to me too that like, okay, so Garden Walk is at quality level, but then the businesses on Harbor, which butt up against the Disneyland Resort as well, that they
were probably omitted.
And while we have this up,
they didn't want to be held to that high standard. Go ahead, George.
Right?
No, I was going to say, and while we have this up, can we get a clear understanding that obviously before even another third gate at Disneyland were to be, they would have to put in the Eastern Gateway. So with this map, where would the gateway?
The Eastern Gateway is over here. So I'll show you. He'll show you on his, and I'll show you on mine. Yeah. So you see that green at the top of Disney Way?
Right.
Eastern Gateway is technically above that.
Okay.
Yeah,
in the red. So you'll see there's the MCML building or whatever. What is that building called again? I don't know. It's like an immigration office, like literally.
Yeah.
So you can see it right here. So this is the building that Disney does not own. They own both lots to the north and the south. This is a little bit of an old map. And then they demolished the what was it?
Carousel Inn, I think.
The Carousel. Yeah, the Carousel Inn. So that's one of these along here, and that's what would have made the Eastern Gateway back in the day. And so you see this MCML lot here, George?
Right.
That's where that structure was going to go.
So I assume that if they move along with the Eastern Gate project, or if they even rename it or what have you, it would still be along those same plans?
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. And the idea would be to annex, or to remove the bus depot from this location as it exists alongside Harbor. Make that more DCA theme park space.
And look how huge that is. I mean, like
it's significant, yeah.
Right? That's a big amount of space. DCA is right there below it. Right. I mean, that's several acres.
See stage 17 as it kind of exists next to it, Hyperion as it exists next to it. You can see the scale when comparing these structures. It is you
could probably get half area. Of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway there.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Probably, right? But the idea would be eventually to build not even just one parking structure, but two. And in that way, you would have enough theme park parking in order to facilitate a third gate, which would be here. And I think at build out right now, I'd have to look at it, but I think at build out as it exists today, I think we're talking about 8,000 spaces here, 7,000, somewhere around there. So you'd have to make up for that lost inventory as well. So that's kind of what's going on there. But Wizard, I do appreciate you bringing that up on such short notice. Those things are surprisingly very hard to find.
That's fascinating.
Wizardry.
Yes. Now since we have the map up and everything,
Sure.
You know, it's kind of fun to speculate. Like, how do you think they would work? Because look, the harbor boulevard leaches, I mean, businesses were were concerned that, you know, they weren't going to get the free ride anymore with that bridge that was going to go over, right? Like the traffic, it was going to hurt their business. How do you think Disney would get around all that? Like, if it was to go forward, like, you think they would scrap the bridge and work something else out, or how would they even do this?
Well, that was my question. Would it still be in the same format as the original intent was going to be, or would it be something different?
They seem pretty hell bent on that bridge, but now I don't know if maybe they've loosened up. Go ahead, Dre. I'm sorry.
The bridge has to be part of it. You can't have 10,000 or 15,000 worth of cars, people in those cars, trek across harbor. There's just no way. The bridge has to be a part of this, if only for the residents of Anaheim alone, right? I think what changes is where that security bubble is placed, because the main problem, and I'll use this with the map. As part of Eastern Gateway, the security bubble would have been just beyond the carousel. It would have been roughly in the area. Do you see this kind of along this horizontal plane of parking lot? Do you see that there? Kind of above the what is it? I'll just zoom in here. Along here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Around here is where the security bubble would have been. And that would have accepted traffic not only from the parking structure itself, but also the new bus drop-off, which would have been located within this area. Okay, and then you would have gone across the bridge, and the bridge would have taken you down to the Esplanade on the other side of Harbor. The problem with that is all of that traffic that would usually provide this kind of thoroughfare for these businesses would be bypassed. You'd have to walk around some of this in order to get into that security bubble, and then your business would be bypassed via that bridge because people were locked in at that point. I think the thing that would have to change is a moving of that security bubble to the other side of Harbor and allow that bridge to be traversed by foot traffic alongside Harbor, because previously it would not be. I think that is the key issue there, and it would get around the businesses mounting an offensive against Disney.
That's such an easy switch. You just move it over. Just do it.
Yeah, and I actually have another idea too in terms of this, because the businesses are just worried about losing business, right? Well, there's like a McDonald's there. There's an IHOP. What if Disney worked out a deal with these businesses where, okay, if you let us buy your land, we'll give you a sweetheart deal somewhere in the resort. For example, they'll have like maybe like a high-end McDonald's at downtown Disney or something. I mean, you know, at that point, would McDonald's necessarily care that it's losing Harbor Boulevard? Now you're in the resort. You're probably going to make even more money. Ask Starbucks what kind of business they do in that resort.
Interesting. It's interesting to bring up because there was a concept not too long ago of having a downtown Disney West along with a downtown Disney East. Now the Eastern Gateway didn't include that, but you could possibly, maybe bump out the pathway that was supposed to be just, blank, and provide shops and retail alongside that corridor.
Right.
So there are ideas here, and eventually this will happen. It's just what form will it take? I don't know if landowners alongside Harbor would be too enticed about the prospect of becoming renters on Disney property. But again, you know, I think there are options here, and I think there were viable solutions, but Disney just simply didn't explore them for whatever the case.
Now, for construction process, how would people then get to and from the resort if they're staying off property while in the midst of all this being rerouted? So while the bridge is being built, would anything have to be blocked off, or you would have to go in even another way while things are being blocked off, or that won't have any?
Yeah. So
issues?
I think the plan was to build the bridge first, okay. Yeah, I think the plan was to build the bridge first, build the structure and the bus depot alongside it. As soon as that bus depot was open, have people use that. That would also provide a bigger drop-off area for Uber. Actually, casual. I think we experienced this together. The 15-minute lot as it exists today is very inadequate for today's purposes. So that new bus drop-off would also have included a roundabout that would have included Uber and Lyft and so forth. You build that, have everybody transfer over there. You take down the bus depot now that you have a replacement for that, and then eventually the parking structure is finished and then you have a bridge and all that. So that's kind of how it was planned to go. It's interesting. Let me see if I can look it up here. The Disneyland Eastern Gateway, because it kind of I think it's a good thing to go over for our audience. This is all riveting content, guys. I do appreciate you sticking with us here. Yeah. So you can see that. And how that was supposed to be. Okay, yeah. So I remember this a little bit wrong. The bus depot would have taken up all of the space north of the immigration center. The parking structure would have been built south of it. But you can see kind of what they had there. That transportation facility that you see on the upper right, that would be completed first. Then you would take down the existing transportation center as it exists on the other side of the harbor, and that way, that's how that traffic would go. There should be very little impediment to Anaheim residents, Anaheim visitors, etc.
That's a lot of walking from that parking structure.
Yes, and they were going to do moving walkways, just like Disneyland Paris, but they cut that out. They were absolutely going to do moving walkways. And here's the thing. See, I don't think a lot of people know about this. When the master plan was developed for Westcott, it actually included this site. Here we go. Let me see if I can... Nope, that's not it. Where is it? No, it's not going to be here. Okay, that's good stuff there. See if I can open this up. No. Why do you do this? Okay. Can you see here? I don't know. Can you see at all? Wow, that's not getting any better. Okay. This is great. I'm glad I'm doing this live, guys. Thank you. Why?
Oh man, why won't it let?
Anyway, it's very hard to see, and I do apologize. I wish I could make this larger or whatever.
I can read People Mover over on that left side, though.
Yeah, I see
you
the
can.
People Mover.
Okay.
Right
Yeah.
side.
So let me see.
Can you say? Why don't you save the image and then open it?
Open it.
Like
You
know what
could
I'm
do
saying?
View Image in its own tab, right?
Yeah. Try that. Man, looking at the plans for Westcott makes me so upset because like it was just such an awesome proposal.
That's your park, OG. It's your park, and it's not even a park yet.
I know.
And I say yet because anything can happen.
Yes. So you're telling me there's
so-
a chance.
There we go.
I know. So, the original plan was to have People Movers take you from the parking structure that would be the Mickey and Friends and the Pixar parking structure as it exists today, take you over to Disneyland Plaza, not the Esplanade, Disneyland Plaza, and then the same functionality would exist over on the eastern side as well. You would have a people mover that would take you from, and by the way, you can see right there. See if you can see my cursor. No, you can't. Okay, to the adjacent to Disneyland Plaza on the right side. Do you see that moving sidewalk?
Yeah.
Right? And the moving sidewalks would take you from the far ends of those parking structures and towards the people mover, which would take you to Disneyland Plaza. And that would be on both sides right there. And the monorail would have taken you, the route was to be changed. It wasn't changed for DCA, but it would have taken you to the hotel district on the other side as well. So
4 stations.
Yeah, 4 stations. This was an absolutely ambitious plan. I wish they would have gone forward with it, but they were looking to replicate at least some of that with the Eastern Gateway project before. Well, that didn't happen either.
Well, and it just goes to show you, Andre, like, you bring up a great point. They kind of replicated that Westcott proposal with the Eastern Gateway. Ideas never really die at Disney, right? I mean, they dusted those plans off, and they're like, okay, let's try this, right? I don't know.
But this is an old concept, though, G. Westcott can never happen. That's like putting a Star Wars land in the back of Disneyland Park. I mean, that's just redundant.
It's impossible. It's impossible. You have no idea how many people, like in like the early 2000s, said it's impossible to expand back there because there's backstage buildings. It's just so hilarious. I remember this stuff. I've been in the community a long time, and it's just funny.
There was a video that went through what was supposed to be this.
Oh, yeah.
You remember this?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
This video.
Fresh baked.
Perfect. We'll give credit for sure. This is all supposed to happen, guys. I mean, a lot of people they forget their Disney history, but this was all, and you could see how it kind of rounds in here. That was the only entrance to this side, and it would have bypassed all of those businesses to the north of, I think, Disney Way. So it was pretty extensive, but you can see how far, if you wanted to, you could walk to get in here.
Hey, look, there's casual.
Quick side note.
This is the security bubble, right?
Quick side note. That is exactly how it feels when you're following Vash through Disneyland.
Yeah. We're fast, George.
You got to keep up. You got to keep up.
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Transportation center, which would have had Uber and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And this is the security checkpoint here that would have been permanent.
Now, if they were going to have everybody walk all that distance right along the back edge of those hotels and everything, couldn't they just flip that to be, hey, we'll give you guys, we'll help you turn that into your front-facing facade?
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of the restaurants and stuff are on the harbor side, so that makes it a little difficult.
So there was, I did hear about some plans, actually, Casual, that would have, you would have had like a kind of a dual entrance kind of thing for some of those businesses, but not all of those could incur that cost. This was the bridge over harbor here.
Looks like the downtown Disney Bridge, kind of.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah. It very similar. Very similar. It would have taken from the motifs as established back in the 1990s and early 2000s. So
I'm always impressed with the downtown Disney Bridge because you don't even realize that you're going over the cars.
Oh,
isn't that crazy?
It's wild. Excellent design work there. I mean, whatever they did to buffer that sound, you really feel it actually is pretty immersive.
And yeah, the big thing, you could have seen the monorail be rerouted, which would be the first time that would have been done since 1995, interestingly enough. And then you would have seen that area completely open up for DCA space. So yeah, that is going to happen eventually. And that's kind of why it's good to go over this, because some people forget. And the reason why this is good to go over now is because people wonder, like, what's going on with Hollywoodland? part of the thing that's holding back Hollywoodland is Eastern Gateway, right?
Yes.
If you could potentially have more room behind those facades, why would you develop anything now without knowing what that master plan would be? Some of this stuff is predicated on things that, are not within Disney's control. So that's what we have to parse out.
So basically, Florida. This is what you have to look forward to.
Exactly.
Exactly what I was
All
thinking.
of this stuff, Florida. BJ Vincent.
Florida.